So this week's film was chosen by Adam, or put into the Wheel of Doom by Adam.
Oh, can I just
And
say,
go on.
no one picks the films, the Wheel of Doom does. We just give the wheel suggestions.
Yeah. It churns out what it wants, the wheel does. So this week's film was High Tension, also known as, Adam?
Switchblade Romance.
Right, so I will admit now, never seen it, and I had a little bit of difficulty finding it.
Was it not on Prime? They said it was on Prime.
I didn't look on Prime. I just went straight to my obviously very legit streaming website that I use. I obviously pay a subscription for it and things.
Netflix, yeah.
Yeah. And anyway, so the story is, never seen this before. Started watching it. Obviously remembered it's in French. Okay, I can cope with that. Go to the menu. Go to change the subtitles, or to subtitles, or whatever, or change the language. No option.
So you watched the dub?
No, I watched the entire film in French.
Without any subtitles?
Without any subtitles.
F***ing hell, but what's the matter with you?
So I went and looked on a couple of other places, didn't look at Prime, didn't think it'd be there, for sake, how comes? So I watched the entire film in French. However, if it'd been anything other than like a horror slasher, I would have really struggled. But because there's a large proportion of this film where there's not much dialogue, I think I got away with it.
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, it's on. If you get a free trial on the BFI player, you could.
Is it on like Shudder or something?
No, BFI player. But if you
BFI,
free trial on BFI, you can watch it.
No. It was about 9:30, 10 o'clock last night, and I thought, just watch it in French.
Do you know why they call it the French version of it? Horton. Very, very annoyingly. But Andrew, what did you think?
I look. Horror is not my favourite genre. We've sort of come and discussed this previously. But I did enjoy it, I will admit. There's some things of the film, no doubt, we'll probably get to in a bit. You know, the lack of English language definitely didn't help me. But I'm not against a foreign language film at all. Just in this instance, it was difficult. But I did enjoy the movie. It definitely had Jeepers Creepers vibes about it for me.
Well, we should get on to what's the first question we always ask in this pod. We've just got your first experience with this there, Andrew. But what was your first interaction with High Tension stroke Switchblade Romance prog?
So I've watched this film once before, and it was about 20 years ago, and it was when I was going through a
tough time,
foreign language horror sort of. I was going through all of those type of films, especially the French and the Korean horror films I was going through. So yeah, I've seen it once before, and my thoughts today are the same as they were when I first watched it, and that is I really enjoyed it for the most part, and then when it gets to the end, it really, really gets on my nerves.
So you started saying, I watched it about 20 years ago, so it must have been roughly not long after it came out, right? Because it was this 2003?
Yeah.
And then when you started saying, I was going through, I was like, is he going to give like a really heartfelt, like I was going through a really bad breakup? I was just like, where's he going with this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was heartbroken and I watched High Tension.
I can remember when I watched this when I was in media studies when it didn't come out. Okay, it did come out in 2003, but it didn't come out over here until a couple of years later, like 2005 or something. Because I think that's when it hit big over here. And it was one of the ones I lent on DVD from my college, because in my college there used to be a big fire cabinet in the one classroom full of films, like full of movies and like pirate copies of tapes and all that. And it just had all sorts in there. And this was in there. It was on a pirate copy, and I lent it from college, watched it, and I thought it was awesome. I've since been a fan of, I can never say the guy's name, Alexander Aja, whatever his surname is. I don't know. I know his surname is like a sort of like portmanteau of his full name, like Alexandra, middle name and surname, and
Joanna Cardi.
yeah, something like that. But anyway,
Yeah,
I
you wouldn't normally say the J, would you? Or
Yeah.
you wouldn't say it as a J.
but I thought,
Well, one.
No. Aja.
but
that's what I'm
since
saying.
watching this film, I've always been a big fan of the director, and I think his career for me has gone on the up and up since this film. I think he's got way better over the years. It seems like every film of his gets better, and that's up until the one I saw last, which was Crawl in 2019. I always think he steps up, gets better and better every film. He's like one of those rare directors which is always growing. I find big massive fan of the guy.
Is he? Does he specifically work within the horror?
Yeah,
genre?
pretty much horror. But he doesn't make stuff in. He does make stuff in France now, but he makes a lot of stuff in America now as well. Like he did the Piranha 3D remake a couple of years ago. Well, 10 years ago now. I thought that I've always been a big massive fan of that. He did the Hills of Eyes remake, which is brilliant with Ted Levine in it. Yeah, he's just got a really good career. He's proper solid. He's done he does a lot of producing as well. So he did I know he did the Maniac film with Elijah Wood and stuff in it as well. So yeah, the guy's he's pretty prolific in the old horror scene. Does good stuff. I think he's just got a really good visual eye.
I had so many questions watching this movie, right? That I was like, oh, how do they know that? And how did this happen? And blah, blah. And then the end. So the end has got a little bit of a twist, doesn't
Yeah.
it? We'll just put it that way. and straight away, all my questions went out the window. We may as well say what the twist is now, because we got to
Let's give everyone
it. So spoiler
spoilers.
alert.
Everyone spoilers now.
The
If you haven't seen High Tension, if you haven't seen
if they're watching
press
this,
pause right now.
Yeah.
Go and watch the movie, then come back to this podcast. So because it is a pretty film spoiling
Yeah.
twist.
yeah. So basically, the killer, as we know for most of the movie, turns out to be the girl Marie. Is that her name, Marie or
Yeah.
Maria? One or the other, isn't it? And I liked the twist. Really liked that twist, actually. And then straight away, all my notes or questions I had just went straight out the window. So yeah, it is good. It is good. And the other thing I forgot to mention just now, the fact that I had to watch it without subtitles or in the French language, didn't take away from the scene where you get some blurry bathroom boobies at the very beginning.
I bet you were.
I could still enjoy that even in French
So
language.
you were stepping out of your comfort zone, Nick, going from 80s boobs to noughties boobs. There, I mean, was that all right for you, and or like
Naughty's French blurry boobs. Yeah.
well, pushing the boundaries and exploring new worlds there.
Yeah.
Did you think Adam had done you a solid, and
I was like, whoa! We've gone back to the one, right? It was horror, and I was like, oh, horror, 80s, boobs, and grotesque. It's going to be amazing.
I bet it
So, the one thing I will say about that boob scene, though,
wasn't long enough.
that camera angles, that camera angle is all wrong, because she's far too high up for her boobs to be at that angle to see. Do you get what I mean? I looked it up actually, and there's a little bit of trivia about it.
I love the thought process into this boob scene. Go on.
So, because she's outside on the ground level, the bathroom is outside, and you can clearly see her waist, and it's just trajectory is all wrong. So I looked it up, and actually the way that they shot it wasn't in the bathroom at all. It was in I think just a bedroom. The woman had to stand on a box or a higher level, while an sound guy or someone was sprinkling water over her. So my observations were correct.
I love that was the part of the film. You got your notepad.
The angles
You
were all
got your notepad out like this, this needs research. All I can imagine is
Because I went over it a couple
all I
of
can
times.
imagine is you sat in a room typing away and those math equations in the background floating over you, just that sort of thing.
you had Rachel reenact the scene as well?
Let's move on to the favourite aspect. What people got?
Oh,
I think the acting is great.
yeah.
I love the lead woman, Cecile de France. I think that's how you pronounce her name. Apologies, but I think she's a great actress. I've seen her in a few things post High Tension, and she's always been good. She's in a really good French film called Mayreen with Vincent Cassel. That's a good film as well.
Yeah, I love the acting, love all of the filmmaking behind it. I love the script and all that sort of stuff. But my above all big honourable mention is to the special effects by the master Gianetto De Rossi from who did all the Cannibal Ferox, a lot of Lucio Fulci films, Rambo 3. That's right. He went to Hollywood. He went to Hollywood in the 90s as well. But yeah, I think the effects are great in this, and it's I love that it's quite a modern or modernish horror movie with old school giallo special effects going on. I think that's great. It's my favourite aspect.
Can I give another shout out as well? Obviously, I don't advocate for this in real life, but in a horror film, they actually killed the kid.
Yeah, it's quite horrific, isn't it?
It is, but when that happens, I've said this a few times now. When that happens in a film, that absolutely makes me think that anyone is up for, all bets are off on who's safe and who's not.
Originally, doing a little bit of research on this, they were going to have a shot where the kid gets shot, and you see it from camera, kid, killer,
Yeah.
and the killer shoots it, so the brain matter goes over the camera. I was reading that, I was like, why didn't they put that in? But well, I know why, but it would have been something you don't normally see. But I agree. I think the fact that I was thinking, the kid is going to survive and he's going to be there at the end of the film with the survivor. It's going to be that type of film, but no, that kid straight away, brilliant.
Oh yeah, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's toast. He is gone in that film.
I got one other honourable mention as well, and I did say this to Adam last night, and that is the film score. And I'm not talking about the song choices they used. I'm talking about the pulsating undercurrent that it's almost like a constant, really in the background, but once you it, I can't describe it really, but it's almost like this nagging thing, or it's like a earworm, where it's always with you. I just really liked that last night because I think it added to the tension.
There was something within the score, the music, that at a couple of points I paused the movie because I was like, what the f***'s playing music outside, and it was a little, it was weird. I can see now it fitted the film, but at the time I was like, what's that? I'm trying to watch a film here, and it was me watching the film, obviously. So yeah, I agree with you there, Prog. There was something about it that added to that film, definitely.
Yeah.
From my point of view, my favourite aspect changed. I was watching the movie, I was like, what I really love about this film is the killer. The killer, with the guy now I'm talking about. I was like, he's just a normal guy. He doesn't seem to have supernatural powers. He hasn't been shot 10 times. It's just a normal guy that's gone into a house. He's killed these people. We don't know the reason. And he's just acting normal. I thought that was it was really, really good. The movie has a simple premise for the majority of the movie, and then you have that twist. And I'm not going to put the twist as my favourite aspect, but I do like it. I do like that style. There's something I change about the twist, and we'll come to it in changes. But yeah. It's I did want to mention it now. But the fact that you see that guy, he's a normal guy, brilliant. I was on board straight away, because we've had conversations previously that in a horror film it can go one of two ways if you show the killer very early on. It can either be really because everything about the horror aspect or the suspense aspect has gone out the window. You've seen it, you know what it is, right? Or you can see it very early on, and they still keep that tension, they still keep that menace about them. And I think when it's a normal human being like it is this guy now, you can show him quite early on. And you can still keep that menace. And they do that bit quite well, I think. I believe anyway, yeah. Favourite scenes? Ad, what have you got?
Oh well, you know the initial massacre is a pretty strong one, but I now me and Prog had a big massive argument at the end of this one, because this is a movie, right, where you are in two camps, and like I've done a lot of thinking about this today and a lot of reading about it, but you're either on the bus and you are up for that twist and you can go along with it, or you're too logical about it and it pisses you off, right? But I love the twist in this film. I think the twist is like pure, like unadulterated horror cinema, right? I think that is a great end twist to the movie, right? But I love it. I love the film when I love the reveal of it all. But I love it when I do love the scene where her, because obviously like the sort of split side of her personality, the man, the big fat old guy, is obviously like some weird subtextual. It's a manifestation of her anger against dudes and like her own sexual frustration, right? But I just love it when it rears its head and becomes the ugliest, most angriest it's ever been, and it's just chasing the Alexa with the big circular saw at the end. That's probably my favourite scene of the film, and like I love it when it goes through the windscreen of that guy and he's just chopping that guy up to bits, and she's in the back seat screaming her head off and stuff. I love that. I love that stuff, man. I think it's solid scene. I think it's a really good crescendo there.
So I got a question on that, lad.
Yeah.
I'm assuming the thought pattern here with that last scene can go one of two ways. You're either paying homage to a famous 70s movie in Texas Chainsaw Massacre, or you're ripping it off.
Well,
so
I think the film itself is a rip-off, because obviously this is the Dean Koontz novel, isn't it? It's Intensity. It's just like, it's pretty much an adaptation of that book, with the ending is a bit different, and is also like, is a massive like, Dean Koontz hates the film. He hates this film because they kind of did an adaptation of his book without telling him about it. He was so bitter about it, he didn't even sue them because he didn't want to give the film he didn't want to inadvertently give the film publicity, so he didn't even sue him for it. But yeah, there's loads of like horror rip-offs and stuff in this film. There's loads of like homages to other horror movies and stuff, right? I mean, Alexandre Aja's a horror nut. He's a bit like Eli Roth or Tarantino or something. He always has like little sprinklings of little nods and homages. I don't think they're rip-offs though. I think it's the way you do it, basically. I think it's just like sampling, you know.
So I have an issue with that scene as well at the end, right? And it's more to do with the guy who's in the car, right? Mm-hmm. So the woman gets in the back of the car. Oh, help me! Can't bloody start it, you know, whatever. I can get on board with that. What I can't get on board with is he just sits in the car while the guy, the woman, whoever it is at that point, has got that massive circular saw and is going through the windscreen. Why don't you just get out and run? Because I tell you what, right? Any of you carry a circular saw and try running after me, you ain't catching me. Not because I might be faster than you, but I'll be faster than you with you carrying a bloody circular saw, which is probably like 20 kilos.
It's a power tool.
Yeah, but it's not. Yeah, but it's not fun though, is it? Like a guy getting out of a car and running away is not as fun as a guy on top of the bonnet
I get
smashing
it.
through the window. You know what I mean? That's what you want. You want the money. You want the go at that point. You know what I mean? That's like
I do get that. So I suppose my issue slightly is with maybe the editing. The editing could have been a bit tighter there, so it left less time between getting on top and going straight through the windscreen. But I get what you mean. I do like it. I like also in that scene where, what's her name? Alex, the other girl. She's got that piece of glass. Yeah, she got that piece of glass through her Achilles. Oh,
Yeah.
and I was looking at her, I was like, ooh! I was almost spewing at that point.
I tell you another bit that's ridiculous though is the fact she severs off the dad's head with a cupboard.
I did like it though. Admittedly.
Yeah, but at the time it's happening, you believe it because you think it's a big brooding guy, don't you? When you find out it's actually her, you kind of like, oh, okay, I suppose I gotta believe that.
So my favourite scene, and we're not going to talk about it. I'm not going to talk about a sequence or whatever, but I'm going to talk about a physical scene, and it's when the mother gets killed. So you see her; she's in the bedroom. At this point of the film, Marie, you believe, is in the cupboard watching it, scared. The mum comes and is literally, I don't know, a couple of feet away from her, but she can see through the slats. She can see the mum's eyes as the mum gets killed. And I did wonder at that point, did the mum see her? Did the mum know that she was in the cupboard? Yeah, and I really liked that bit. I did like how they handled it. And then I'm assuming, the next bit after it, the mum's on the floor. All of a sudden, she's sort of like, she thinks she's dead, but she breathes and what have you. And I'm assuming the mum said something to her about the young boy, to save the young boy. And is that when the boy gets killed then?
Well, no, the mother. I think the mother dies. Yeah, the mother. Yeah, the little boy is the last one of the family to die, because obviously, it's a bit of a mind that bit is because you're a bit like she must have come into the room after it happened, and so I'll come on to the mother death in the changes at the end because I've got a couple of bones to pick with that one bit, but I will give you the effects on that scene are fantastic. It is a great. It does look great, but. This is one of the only problems I have with this film. I've got two problems with this film. I'm going to wait for changes, and but yeah, we'll but yeah, I think the kid definitely dies after the mother, after that because
that's again. Yeah, I watched it in French, so I don't know if the mum actually said "help my son."
No. She's saying why, which is kind of like a good little foreshadow because if you've got the subtitles on, it's sort of like the first sort of. On a rewatch, that's her addressing the girl, not the old man, because she's like, what the f*** are you doing this for? We were all eating food downstairs 2 minutes ago, now you're killing everyone, you nutter. Sorry, to the viewers, bit of a break. We're now on Zoom because of connection issues. Go on, Andrew.
Prog, what about your favourite scene?
Mine is actually the whole 20 to 25 minutes of the rampage in the house when the guy first turns up. I think that is quality horror filmmaking. I think it's brilliant. I think it stands up. I think the acting is great. The deaths are great. I mentioned before about the fact that the kid, her brother gets killed, which a lot of horror films wouldn't go down that route. I personally, I haven't got a problem with anything that happens in that 25 minutes. I think it's really, really good stuff.
He must have. It means though that she jumped out of her bedroom window, ran to the front of the house, and knocked the door.
Well, can I ask you this, right? Because we're going to get on to changes in a bit, and me and you are probably going to have another discussion like we did last night about one thing in particular. Based on what you think, not what you think, based on what the film presents us with at the end, is it possible she didn't even go back to bed?
Well, yeah, it's from having the cigarette and watching her through the.
Yeah,
well, I don't know because the time's off because she's having a shower there, so that would mean she would have to stay outside for about like an hour, waiting for everyone to go to sleep and then knock the door. Because
I read it though at the end. It's all in her head anyway, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
so
all
time doesn't really matter.
It's like a schizophrenic mind. That film is. It's a bit like, if it's this you can put yourself in the foot of the film and like, where was she when that happened? Where did she when this was? It's a bit like it's like Fight Club. You know what I mean? It's like the Tyler.
It's not like Fight Club. It's not like Fight Club. I'm not doing this again.
It is like Fight Club. It's exactly the same as Fight Club. It's like it's the twist off. It's a split personality twist at the end of the film.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, but the execution is completely different. Right, I'm gonna drop this in now. Right, changes. Where's she get the van from?
It's her car.
It's not her car.
It
Hang on. She came to the farm with her friend, and she had never been there before.
Right.
So where's she get the van?
Doesn't she see the van at the very beginning?
No.
Oh.
No, the van is the car. The car they drive to the farm in is the van. That's what the car is. That's what the van is. It's their car. They drive to the farm at the beginning. It's got to be that car because there's no other way. That's the vehicle.
Right. Okay. Hang on a second then. If that's the case, right, all the filmmakers would have needed to do, right, to sell that point would have been, on the CCTV footage when the police are going over it.
Yeah.
All you would have had to see is outside, and it's the car and not the van. And I would have bought it.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, that's the thing with this film, The Garage. You could either, like, it's just one of those films you got to go along with, man. You just got to be like, fuck, it's a horror roller coaster. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. Like, I think the film does his job very well.
It doesn't do its job very well. This is my point, Dad. There's so much good in this film, right? And I know you mentioned earlier about the twist. I don't like the twist. It's not that I don't like the twist. I actually think the twist is very interesting, and I think it could have been great. My problem is that I don't think the twist is executed anywhere near as good as it can be.
Yeah,
go on. Sorry, but I was going to say, and I think it's because of a certain few things that they've missed or overlooked, and then there's a couple of things that they added that we spoke about last night. I mean, you agreed that scene with the old man's getting the blowjob off the severed head. What's the point of that?
Well, I thought with that scene a bit today. Now, one of my.
Whoa! Stop! I don't think I've seen this scene.
Oh, did you watch the cut version with the blowjob?
Right, so you're gonna have to explain where in the film this comes in.
So when the girls are driving, you have that 10 minutes in the car, don't you?
Yeah.
At the start of the film, you have a cutaway to the old man in the van, and he's having a blowjob. You think he is having a blowjob to begin with, and then he chucks this severed head out the window, and then it cuts back to the girls driving into the farm.
Yeah, but
I definitely did see that bit.
But like, I thought about that quite a bit today, and I've come round. Look, there is still an aspect that I don't like, but I have come round it a bit today because I actually went and watched that scene again earlier as well, just to kind of just to freshen myself up on it. I reckon I think that's like a sort of like a weird, like, I think that's like the storm coming. I reckon that's the beginning of her delusions coming in. So it happens as they arrive. That's right. It. That's the arrival of her psychosis of her mania that's going to destroy and annihilate this family. The only thing I don't like about that scene, I don't like the blowjob of the severed head. I think it should have just been a drop. Now I get that it's there to show the sexual frustration, and in looking at it again, yes, the head is modeled after the Maria woman. If you look at it in a certain way, it is modeled after her.
But I asked that question last night. Was it meant to be her?
Well, I when I watch it again, I can kind of see that on the second night. But the only thing is, I just find like, the blowjob thing from the head is just so French and stupid. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's just like, oh man, like it's so edgy and like a bit like, mate, like, didn't have to go that far. You know what I mean? It's a bit weird. Yeah. Because when I watched it's weird, right? Because I've always remembered that differently. I always remembered that when it cuts to the van, he's sawing her head off and then chucks it out the window. I always remembered it that way. But when I watched it last night, it was the first time I realized, oh no, he's having a blowjob off the head. It's just I misremembered it completely. And in my head, it was way better when he just cuts the head off and chucks it out the window.
Is that because you were like 16 watching it for the first time?
Yeah, maybe? I would have been 16 when I watched this. Yeah, I would have been first year of college. So I would have known a blowjob was at 16. But it's just obviously like 18 years later, I just remembered it as I just in my head, I was like, oh, this is that cool shot now where you see him sawing a girl's head off and then dumping it out to the off the window. But
Going back to this, let's say for instance now that scene with the blowjob and severed head, let's say that isn't in there, right? Because I don't like that anyway, right? When the man turns up with the van, okay, what we're saying is that is her,
Yeah.
but she is actually in Alexa's car.
Well,
She
the car's already there. She's just knocking the door, and she. That's right.
Yeah, but
Now that
she's
you've said
driven-
that,
but she's driven the car up to the front door because the headlights are beaming in through the front door. And she's like knocking or ringing the doorbell or whatever, and you can see the headlights when the father comes down the stairs.
Mm.
So
The-
what
the problem is, in my head, now you've seen all this, you sort of question everything, isn't it? Because you're seeing it from her perspective. So the lights are on, but is that what really happened?
Yeah, no, because to me, right, it's all about plausibility, right? When it comes to a film like this, don't get me wrong. I know it's a horror film, right? I know that in some regards you got to suspend your disbelief because, like, you're watching a genre of film where the most outrageous things are happening. I get all that, but within the confines of the film world that it presents you with, all I want is to be able to look back on something after a twist like this and be able to say to myself, "Oh, that all adds up." You know, and I think when you take the audience through that type of story, which this film does, for the most part, I know that you are okay with what happens and how it presents it, and you enjoy that aspect of it. But I think the reason why this film, certainly for me, doesn't land. It does. What's the word? It doesn't. What's the landing? Nail the land. Sorry, it doesn't nail the landing because everything up to the end, I really, really like. I think it's great. All I want to be able to do is to look back at the sequence of events and say to myself, okay, it makes sense that it was actually her. Because she's making, like, you look at stuff where she's in the back of the van with Alexa talking to her, saying it's going to be all right. If that is actually meant to be the car and not the van, then it would make sense that she's just leaning over and telling her everything's going to be all right as she's driving away. So in that respect, all I need is, with the petrol station CCTV footage, when the police are going over it, just have the car in the background rather than the van. So that when you look back on it, you can go, oh yeah, she's not in a van. There was no van to begin with.
What you need then is that police person watching the film, them getting into a car, and then a slight flashback of her putting Maria or Marie, whatever, no, Alex into the back of the car, not the back of the van.
Yeah,
I would need that bit as well. So yeah.
Yeah, because it shows you the flashback of her doing the stuff rather than the man doing the stuff. So if it shows the car rather than the van, I think that would. I'm not going to say it'll solve everything, but I think the audience, certainly me, and I know like this film divides people. So those people who have an issue with the film, I think they'd be more inclined to go along with the ending if you gave them, if you like. I know it sounds bad, but if you tied up a few of the loose ends, like the questions that people have after it, I know you think differently, Ad, and it's fair enough, but you're willing to go along with it. But for me, it just doesn't sit well with me.
But look at the discussion it creates afterwards. Isn't that why it's great sometimes for a film not to be as formal? But sometimes when things are left to the imagination a bit, like this film does, it creates this great conversation afterwards, and people to this day still discuss the movie.
Well, let me ask you then, right? Because you really like this film. If I'm not saying like other people's opinions matter that much to you, but if I was able to look at the film, or Andrew maybe was able to look at the film and say, yeah, everything made sense. I love the film. Would that resonate more with you, or are you happier to have the discussion knowing that I'm not fully on board?
I don't really care. It's like
give
my
a
fault.
shit.
It's like my fault is that, like, I thought it was great, man. But but then again, it's cool to have discussions about it afterwards and stuff. I think it's a great movie. It's not the best film he's made. I think he's got. I much prefer his films he's made. I think, like I said earlier in the podcast, his films to me have always leveled up a bit. Like, I think this film after this Hills of Eyes remake is even better because he just always seems to be learning a bit more from his movies as he goes.
Can I ask you something? Sorry, I know we'll get back on the changes in a second, but go into his filmography. Have you ever seen a film called The Pyramid?
No, is that him?
Well, he produced it. It's in his filmography, so I just wondered.
Isn't that film? Isn't that by Chris Smith, the guy? Isn't that by the guy who made Severance? I might be wrong. I haven't checked his filmography today.
No, Gregory Levasseur or something.
No, I'm thinking of Triangle.
All right. Oh, don't worry. Sorry, but he didn't direct it, so there's no point in me bringing it up.
Isn't he the writer of High Tension? Yeah, he is. He's the Gregory Levasseur. I just checked it. He's the guy that co-wrote High Tension or Switchblade Romance. So
they probably mates, and he produced it as a favor.
Oh yeah, look at now. They seem to make it. They seem to collaborate a lot. Yeah. They always seem to write scripts together. That's cool. Maybe I need to check that out then. He also helped him write Hills of Eyes and Crawl, and he produced Crawl. Yeah, seems like a good thing. But yeah, are we? Is that all your changes, Prog? Have you got any more chuck in the mix?
Can I just throw in a change because it's linked to everything you guys are saying?
Yeah, go on. Yeah,
and it's the twist, and I think there's a slight execution or change that I would want to make. In the version that I saw, and hopefully it's the same as what you saw as well. Marie gets into the back of the van with what's her name?
Alexa.
Alexa, right? Gets in the back of the van with Alexa. Alexa's obviously at this point like, get away from me, get away from me, get away from me. And it's that point then you start to realize what's going on. Then it flicks to the oh no, it's the other way around. The policeman goes into the petrol station. Sorry, get my words right. He sees the film. Then you see Alexa saying to Maria, "Get away." And I can't remember what the sequence is. It's bugging me now. But ultimately, you need to swap them round. It would have been. Sorry, just for my notes. It would have been better if Alexa being untied was before the police found the video of the gas station. Okay. So what you should have had is Alexa being untied, who go, get away from me, or whatever she said. Again, I saw it in French, in French language. I couldn't really work it out.
No, you were right with that one.
Yeah, and then you would, as an audience, you would have said, "Oh, what's going on here? Why is she saying for Marie to get away?" Then you would have flicked to the police officer watching the surveillance. And you would have been like, oh, and I think you would have had more of a shock. So I just think those two should have switched round because what happened was the police watched it, and then you had Marie untying her and her going, "Oh, get away from me."
Do you think the timing of the twist could have been executed better?
Yeah, just by flipping those two scenes around.
Got you, yeah.
Got that in the end with my description. Sorry.
I mean, it would have been a more layered way of showing the twist.
Yeah.
I get that. But yeah, I mean, it's not a perfect movie at all. Like
but it is a good movie, and I will defend. I know you guys have had a conversation about bits of it you don't like and what have you, but I will defend it. It is a good movie. And I had so many changes. Let me read some of these out. Right. Does the killer know Marie is in the back of the van petrol station? Because while you're watching it, you sort of get a hint that he may know she's there because he's walking down the aisles of the petrol station and things like that and what have you, right? I had so many of these questions, which were then quashed for the moment that you would get the twist, right? The killer checks everything in the bedroom but he doesn't check under the bed. And I was like, why isn't he checking under the bed? It's the one place, if someone was going to hide, it's the easiest place to get to. So there were so many of those little things I picked up on the way. And I was like making notes of my changes, like, I'm going to fucking have this movie. And it blew it all out the window. So
yeah. My big change for this film, I talked about this last night. Now, I agree with it. It's a good kill. The effects are great, but I wish he didn't kill the mother. I wish there was no, and the reason being, right, is because and I'm not the only one that has read the film this way. It's actually quite. I think it was pretty much the intention of the director to make it this way, and there's a lot of like complaints about it online today because of like the fact she's a lesbian and stuff. There's a lot of like people find it quite offensive actually, but
No. Yeah, how many times has a man been a killer in a film? Come on, like.
yeah, I quite like that because with the aid of the twist that it's a movie where, because obviously slasher genre is where girls are picked off usually as women are killed by a bloke, right? And I kind of wish they only killed men in this film because it would have added more to like that sort of like her sort of like rage against men and stuff. Like I think that would have really like give the film that extra boost. Like if they had just kept had it just be like a father, a father and a younger brother, and then just have one less victim. I just think that this is what one of the rare times I'm saying take one kill out of the film and it'll make it better. Make it better.
You've never said that.
But like I just think that like I just wish that the mother wasn't killed because I just think it played on my OCD a little bit because I could have at the end been like, oh yeah, and she only killed blokes and like, you know what I mean, and like, and even more so at the end when she's on the car raging at
So can I ask you, Ad? Obviously she did kill the mother. So do you know there's these articles or stuff has been written about the film where men are the subject of her violence predominantly in the film. I don't know if you know this or if it was written. Is that because she's a lesbian and she's in love with Alex? Men, and she obviously Alex at the start is talking about this guy that she's been with and she wants to get with.
Yeah.
Her rage is it that her rage, Marie's rage is coming from the fact that men are getting something that she wants or the person that she wants.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I mean, because when they're in the car at the beginning, obviously, Andrew, you didn't have the subtitles to kind of lift you for this bit, but what she's talking about in the car at the beginning is that she's starting to see this new guy, and she keeps doting on this fella all the time, and she's proper smitten with him, and Marie is really like you could just tell she's jealous about it. You could just tell she doesn't like the fact that she's got this fella. So when she starts plowing through people, it's almost a bit like she's just like venting that anger and frustration at all, because it's like she's sort of saying, look, I can never, because obviously Marie's not bisexual or lesbian like I am. She's unobtainable to me. So I'm just going to kill every man I see, fudging man I see. I just think that's a cool way to read the movie, right? And I just think that killing the mother kind of just, I get that she is just killing anyone that gets in her way, but I just kind of wish that they kept that.
Well, that's what they say. That's what she says, isn't it? I understand what you're saying, but in terms of the film, Marie says at the end, nobody will ever get it between us again.
Yeah.
I feel sorry for the family because, Marie should have just gone and killed that boy.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. But that's the thing though. It's like, the wank scene, a little bit when she's strumming herself off on bed and stuff, is a bit like it all slinks in, doesn't it? Really, it's like,
well, there's a possibility that didn't even happen. Now,
I reckon that did happen. Imagine that she's so brazen, all right? Because let's be honest, she's not quiet to do it now, is she? She's just rolling around in their bed, going "wee, wee" like that to herself, and like the entire family would have heard that shit going on. It doesn't matter; she's all dead like 10 minutes later. But like, she's having a right old strum there, isn't she?
Yeah, but if she if she did actually go back into the bedroom, how did she get back outside to knock the door to get the father down?
I know what you're saying. She's strumming herself off as she kills the father.
Yes.
That's the entire thing. But I also read something before, right? That the entire film is like all a dream in her head, and it's all like this wank fantasy she has. While I was like, get off.
Oh, that would have blown Prog's mind if the twist at the end was just her sort of waking up after it goes back to the masturbation scene and she's just finished, and it was one massive sexual masturbation dream.
Oh, but yeah, like the camera's there in the eye, and it just over the last kill, you just hear wee, and then like it just zooms out. And she's like, like
You know what?
finishing
Do you know
herself
what?
off.
That is, I would have actually been okay with that though, because they would have fully gone for the film as a dream thing. That would have been the apex of film as a dream.
At least they wouldn't have had, is it a dream, is it not a dream? It would have been, it's a dream.
It's a dream. Just watch someone's dream.
Can you guys think of a film, not including Inception, that doesn't count, that is all a dream? That the end sort of thing is, it was all a dream.
Inception isn't a dream, though.
You know what I mean. It's all in dreams, isn't it?
I know what you mean.
Grease.
I can think
of... you know the theory on it. That
Yeah.
at the very beginning, Sandy is on the beach. She actually drowns, and it's a dream as she goes into. Oh, she dies. But I don't believe that at all.
Well, you got a film with Robin Williams called What Dreams May Come.
I tell you one that's annoying, and now I haven't seen this for many years, but I saw when it first came out in the cinema. Was that Zack Snyder film Sucker Punch? Ever seen that? Anyone ever seen that?
You told me about this.
Beautiful women in that film. Oh my god, the women in that film are next level stunners, all of them. But the film has nothing to it, because very like middle of the film or something, it might have been even the beginning, is revealed that everything's a dream. So you're just watching the entire film like none of this matters. Like there's no stakes, there's no danger. And then at the end, when it's reconfirmed that it's a dream, you're just like, well, what? Like that was terrible. That is like, it's awful. Like literally, the twist of the film is that it's all a dream. It's awful. And you in like a mental asylum.
I just remembered the greatest film about a dream.
I've got one as well. Go on, Prog.
A Matter of Life and Death.
Oh.
I haven't seen it.
It's about a World War II pilot, and he crash lands, and he ends up in a coma, or he's having these fervent dreams, and he thinks that he's actually talking. He's in heaven and talking to God and stuff.
But, well, obviously you can say Wonderful Life as well. Sorry, Andrew.
What's that? Wizard of Oz.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they did them well back in the 40s, didn't they?
I tell you a great film. A really good, ambiguous Wizard of a Dream ending. Total Recall.
Wow.
That's a discussion. That's a good discussion. Because there's people in two camps in it. They're even in the. Did he go to Mars? Well, he did go to Mars and save the world, or was it all a dream? There's always two camps in it, isn't it?
Well, the only thing that makes me think it was a dream, because I would rather believe that, you know, that all that happened in the film world. But the only thing that makes me think it was a dream is the fact that they get Mars and an atmosphere within 2 minutes.
Yeah, because it's great, because of all of the dumb sort of 80s action movie tropes the film has, it can just all be explained away in the ending. But then some people don't believe that it's a dream. But I think it's a dream. I reckon he actually went on that. The entire film is him on that holiday he goes to in the Recall place. We're on about Total Recall now. We're supposed to be talking about High Tension.
I got one last one just to ask, because I haven't seen this, so I'm going to ask you guys. Mulholland Drive.
Oh, but
Yeah.
Is that a dream? Finch, isn't Lynch? Sorry, I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
No, you could argue that film's about a dream.
You can argue any David Lynch film's about a dream, except for Elfman.
I just saw a picture of what's her name, Celeste de France, and I've never seen her with long hair. She's a very attractive lady, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
No, the lady who plays Alexa.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know how you say her name. If it was Welsh, she'd be like Maiwen. Why she only got one name?
French, isn't she?
Brazilian footballer.
Yeah.
Brazilian football player.
Oh, she's a Brazilian football player.
Yeah, well, that's
She hasn't got one name, and that's her stage name.
Oh yeah, just bloody hell. She's got about 10 names.
In
Now
Brazil,
you know why she's only got one name.
Yeah.
in Brazil, they only have one name.
No, in Brazil, they always have 5 or 6 names, but they always bring it down to one name when they play in football.
And most of the time, it's like an adopted name in the sense of it's nothing to do with their 5 other massively long names.
No.
Bloody hell, her and Celeste, they're only like 5 years older than us.
I was going to say, I just wanted to let you know, I had to Google this to make sure before I said it. I was going to say Pele, but then his name, he is actually Brazilian. I'm quite proud of myself for that.
He's Brazilian. The fact
I
that
should
the
have said
Google
that
is
first.
Brazilian.
Yeah,
I
but I
mean,
should
for
I
you
gotta
to
be-
Google his name.
And can you think of any other Brazilians now? Go.
Neymar.
He's,
Well,
read,
that's
he's
yeah.
reading it. He's reading that.
You got
Look,
him.
his eyes are going down. He's
Hey,
reading it.
hey, what's it called? Zico? He's
Oh,
a good
get
player.
off.
Oh,
And
that other guy. What's his name? Oh,
Garrincha?
Socrates or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, Socrates, yeah, and like, well, I'll say, Jay
The
Zeno,
doctor.
he's great, he is.
Jorginho.
So I did know Pele, but I was a bit like, before I say Pele, I'm going to Google this in case he's not Brazilian, and I Googled it. I was like, oh, no, I'm right. I was like, well, actually, you have no idea how proud of myself I am right now. To listeners, I don't know much about football or sports.
And have you got any facts about this film? Because I just read one that might blow my mind.
It
Was
was
rated PG.
yeah. Not other than it was released in it was filmed in Romania.
Right. Can I tell know the woman that plays Alexa?
Yeah.
The actress says that the film Leon is based on her relationship with Luc Besson.
That's mad. That's quite creepy.
Because she had a relationship with Luc Besson when she was 15 and he was in his 20s. And she had a child with him at the age of 16.
So I was just about to say that. I was trying to work her age out, and I was like, well, Leon came out in 94. So she would have been 19, but assuming it's based on that, would have been from a few years earlier. Bloody hell. But I think we discussed this on the Leon podcast that I think we said that he had a relationship with someone who was at a younger age at the time.
Yeah, I think Luc Besson, if I read it right, Luc Besson's had a relationship with a younger woman, and he, when he was in his teens, also had a relationship with an older woman.
Oh, that's what you said, the older woman, yeah.
Yeah. Because that's that type of thing. Well, at the time, anyway, in France, it was the attitudes were more relaxed on things like that,
Well,
weren't they?
Look at this bit of trivia here. Director Alexandra Aja met Mai Wen at a stand-up comedy show in France. Her ex-husband, Luc Besson, consulted on the script. 15, though. Was you sure she was 15 when they got together? Did it actually say 15?
But
It's
also,
right,
it's France, and as much as we don't agree with the legal age of consent, it's legal in France. Isn't it 14 at the time?
I think so, yeah. All I'm going to say is that on the Wikipedia page, it states that she was 15 when they started the relationship.
Hey,
It does also say that Luc Besson met her when she was 12. So take of that what you will.
if the legal age of consent is 14 in France, although that is howling, that is weird as hell. Like, I think that 16 is too young in this country. I think it should just be blank slate 18 for the world, right? I think 18 is like the age it should be for everyone. Even that's too young, 18, right? But if it's within the realms of the law in France, Luke,
He's 16 years older than her, or maybe 17 years older.
Wow,
yeah,
it's creepy. But he does make good films. That doesn't excuse it. But I'm just saying he does make some good movies.
Yeah, well, there's a long list of people we could talk about.
I just thought of a film I'm going to put in the wheel.
Nikita.
No.
Fifth Element.
No.
Right, come on. Let's wrap this up, and we'll go on to the Wheel of Doom so we can do it. Would you recommend this movie, Prog?
Do you know what, right? This is the hardest film for me to say yes or no to. But after the discussion we've had, I am going to say yes. Because I think for the most part, I think it's a very, very good, enjoyable horror film. And I think it's done very well. I'll just sum this up, sorry. I just think with the twist, I think it could be done a lot better. That's all I'll say. But yes, I will. Yeah.
I would recommend. I don't have to say much. I really enjoyed the movie, and as you know, not a huge horror slasher sort of genre fan.
You're not a huge French fan either, are you?
Oh well, after this movie, I'm right up there looking for all French language for movies from now on. You wait till the Wheel of Doom. Ads,
No
what about you?
subtitles. I'm just gonna go a little. I'm just gonna say a little bit of like a spiel what Prog said as well. I gotta say it, but like, although I said at the beginning that obviously it depends. The film it can separate into two camps. I don't think it's bad if you don't like the film. I don't think if you don't like the ending, it doesn't make you less of a horror movie fan or whatever. It's just all down to taste. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, obviously I'd recommend it to people because it's an interesting one to watch. But you know, if you don't like the ending, fair enough. And if you love the ending like I do, fair enough. This is how it goes. It's just one of those ones. You can either I guess it's a mood thing as well, because I bet if you watch it in a certain mindset, it could really fuck you off. This film could. But if you're a bit more forgiving and a bit more like of a horror fanboy like me, you can be a bit like stupid about it and be like, yeah, go on. I'm happy just to kind of pretend and ignore Alexandra Aja cheating in bits and stuff and doing all that sort of thing. So yeah, I'd recommend. I absolutely, especially if you're a horror fan. I think horror nuts would get a lot more out of this fun. People that just tend to watch thrillers and stuff. I think if you're the kind of person that only watches a thriller, you might likely to have a bit more problems with this. But if you're more of a horror nut, especially Italian horror and the French horror films that were coming out in the 2000s, you're really going to enjoy this one. That's my little bit at the end.
So final thing from me, budget was $2.5 million, and box office was $6.8 million. So I don't know what that would relate to. Like, I don't 150%.
That's $1 billion. That's $1 billion. That's what it's doing in today's money. But we'll say, what a movie, because it catapulted. He got the job on the Hills of Eyes remake after this, and Alexandra Aja, however you pronounce that surname, he's got a great career now, and he's one of the respected horror directors. So well done, good first film.
Right, come on then. Wheel of Doom. I'm gonna hand over to Adam because he does this better than I do. Because I can't spell for toffee.
Adam gets to live out his desire and dream of being a game show host.
Look, he's already got it there.
I know. I got it by you, yeah. So we've got House of the Dead and Frailty on from the other week.
Yeah.
So let's start with Andrew this time.
Since we're talking about him, Luc Besson, I'm gonna go Fifth Element.
Okay. I've never seen Fifth Element, so it'll be interesting to watch.
Decent. I like it.
Okay, sorry, the Fifth Element. So yeah. Okay.
And then, because this week William Friedkin passed away, I reckon I'm going to nominate one of his movies. So I could either go French Connection, but I don't think I will. I'm going to go for a movie I haven't seen, and I'm going to go for To Live and Die in LA.
Wow!
I knew you were going to say that. Then, as soon as you said William Friedkin, I was like, he's going to say To Live and Die in LA. Now, the reason why that annoys me, not because I've never seen it, but I went to buy that the other day in CEX for £6, and I put it back down on Blu-ray, and I was like, I'll buy it another time. And I went home on eBay, and it's like 20 quid everywhere. And I went back to CEX today, and it was gone. So I lost my chance again for like 6 quid. And I was like, and I've got French Connection on Blu-ray, and I was like, please say French Connection, because I've got that one.
Well, I was going to, it was either that or The Sorcerer.
A Sorcerer, I thought you were going to say.
Yeah.
Oh, that's in now. To Live and Die in LA. Prog, what's yours?
Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
God.
And because Evan's not with us this week, we've got a 1 in 8 chance rather than a 1 in 10 chance of one of these movies coming out.
And what else?
The Luc Besson produced Liam Neeson kicking France's arse, Taken.
Fair enough. I watched that quite recently as well, so I don't think I need to watch it. I don't think I'd have to. I've watched it so recently, I wouldn't have to watch it this week because I watched it with Liz on a Sunday evening quite recently. It's a good film.
Right, here we go. What?
Well, I'm going to stick with Get Carter because I really want that one to come out. Get Carter's the one, but a Friedkin film is what I'm thinking about now, and I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for French Connection.
Wow.
Oh, shall I do The Sorcerer then instead of Taken?
He's in there, but the wheel is spoken.
Oh no, but everyone's saying I feel bad now because everyone's putting their Friedkin in, and
It's too late. It's getting spun. But
What's the other one? You could have had The Hunted. I haven't seen that either.
no,
It's going to be spun.
Killer Joe.
It's a great film. What are we doing? Are we doing one for?
Oof. French
Oh my
Connection.
god, he's got it.
Do it.
I went weeks without having a single film. I went weeks without having any films at all, and I've had 3 on the bounce. I love this. I love
So,
the
for those who are actually listening to this rather than watching it, it's The French Connection.
French Connection. Actually, rest in peace, William Friedkin. I quite like that that's come up actually, but
Meant to be.
Meant to be. Right. Podcasts come out every Wednesday or Thursday. Check out our social media. Check out YouTube for our video podcast and additional content. And if you want us to do a film in the future, just let us know. Cheers all.